Okay, so hello all, and hope you are doing good, and hope you have started reading the challenge. And as you already know, is about Postgres SQL, and which is a relational database system. Let's say exactly like the others we know, like MySQL, SQL Server, Oracle, and so on. So this time, for this first tutorial, we just want to introduce you to how to set up, yes, how to set up your MySQL, your PostgreSQL, how to download it and install it, and then making it really to work with, and also about the model database we are creating, and how can we actually create the tables and get them available in the Postgre so that we can just start querying our data set, our tables. So later in the afternoon, maybe 3 p.m., yes, Yavi will run another tutorial on more details. As for example, how to get connected with the Postgre from Python and how to proceed. So this time I will be working with only two things. So how to download, how to install, so how to download and install, and then how to like yes get familiar with the environments and start like querying, make your tables available, and start making some smart query. So I think for that, what I will do is to just share my screen. I will share my screen like before. Okay, I have it. So now let me share. Okay. So if you are able to get my screen, just let me know. Um, can you see the screen?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So now I will do. I will just start by googling about Postgres. So how to download. So basically, this is what I did. So let's say downloading Postgres. I'm running on Windows, so I know most of you also are running on the Windows, but I just look at the Linux installation path also, and it's not complex. So you can just process it's about. So you just see how I am doing. I'll just right here how to download Postgre, and then from there I just select this one, and it just redirected me here. So where I can just find the download option. So I can you have all the platform. So you can just download it from Mac, you can download it from Linux, but I'm running on Windows, so I will proceed with Windows. And I also know most of you are running on Windows, so it will be like a Windows tutorial this time, but feel free. So the Linux things, if you want to download for Linux, you would have to choose this operating system. So it's one. So I will just choose this one. So I already downloaded it, but I will even choose it. So I will choose the download the installer. And oh yeah, God. So I have some internet issue, but uh, okay, so it's nothing because I I did that somewhere before, so I can just let me see. Okay, so the setup is just here. So this one failed. Let's see. This one is the one I okay. So if I actually go to the folder, yes, you will just see the Postgre here. So I can just let me just. So I didn't actually put it in any folder, but I can just create a new one here. Let name it Postgre. Yes. So here I can just copy and put it, and so that you can just see like. So this is the installer. So to actually install, you have to just go with the usual process on Windows is to double click on the installer and then it will just start. So I did it. So it's actually installed in my computer. So if you double click on that, it will just ask you to proceed. Do you want to allow this app to make any change? Yes. So you will just have to go on. So I don't want to run all the process, but it's actually easy because it's just like give you a windows where you just like click next. And so when it's done is so I will just cancel because I already did it. So I can also show you now in the, let me see my program file. I have it installed it somewhere there. Postgres. Oh no, not yeah. So it's there. So the folder, the home for Postgres is actually here. So when you proceed with the installation, so I haven't the okay. So the version I have actually is the 9.5. So if you choose that one and it's the latest version for Windows, so if you choose it, you will get it installed, following the process, and then you will just like, oh, excuse me, yes, following the process, and then you will just like have it here in your program, in your inside the where the application or the application are actually located. So from there, you will just like you can
Hello.
just look at the
Hello, James.
yes,
Yeah, yours you are using
yes.
X60. You are using X86. It's yours. It's a little bit.
I'm using what?
Your version is X86. Hello.
S86? No, 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 not S86. S86 is just
Okay,
the
okay,
folder where all the program. Yes. So
okay,
the
okay,
actual version I'm using is the 9.5. Yes.
okay.
So when you are done with that, you will just be able to go in the folder and then check. So you have only, I think two folders are very important in this folder: the bin and the library folder. So in the bin, you will have all the necessary things you need to run actually the Postgre, and also in the library you have also the some Postgre file. So what I will just do is I want to have access to my PostgreSQL from command line also. If not, when you finish with the process, I think you can just like go in your Windows Start menu and start typing Postgre, so P and G, and then you will have the PG admin app. So if you click on this one, it will just open you an interface. So very easy to actually use. So you can just use this one instead of using the command line, or you can just use the command line option instead of using this one. So when you get connected, it will present you something like that. So here you will have your server. So the server you can just create, but by default it comes with this one, this first one. So you can see actually it's disconnected because I didn't run it, so I set it up. But when you finish installing your thing, you will just, if you open this one, you will just have to click on that. So once you click on that, it will just ask you about your password, because if you have set it a password in the installation process, then it will just ask you about the password. If not, it will not ask about anything. So may I just set it the password, so I just enter and I say okay, and then you see the statue just changes from not connected to connected, and it's actually running on this port, the 5432. So this is the interface, and then so this is the server we are using by default, and then in this server you can just create a database. So to see actually the database, you just have to, so you have the name here. So actually there is three database. There are three database here. So there is the model database. So it comes with basically by default it comes with the Postgres database. So this one is not created by me, but those two above are just the one I created. So I created the model, I created my database just to test the environment. So you can see actually model database is not actually connected. You will just click on this one, and then you will just have to to click on that, and then you have it. And also, it's actually showing you at the same time all the information about the database, and also it's showing you the code to actually create the database. Yes. So if you have to create it by your own, for example, let's say from command line, yes, you can just use this one. But whatever, I will just show you also this option from command line. So this is the model database I already created, but we will also recreate it here just to make it clear. And so when you click on the, so you can see some in here, some button here. So you, if you click on that, it will give you just more information. So this, so this information is are at the database level. So all the things at the same level, at the same line, are the same, like, yes, the same line are just like the same type of information. So for example, this is a database and this also is a database. If I have to have more details about the database, yes, I will just have to click here. So it will show me the catalog, the event, the extension. But what is important is the schemas. So the schemas are also actually talking about the tables. So when you have a database, you have tables, you have relationship with between the tables. So this is the basic concept of a relational database. So if I actually click it here, yes, we have it. You have the public, but we created inside the public. And if I click on that, yes, then you will actually see the tables here. So actually, this database has about 400 and half tables. So if I click here, you will just like see all the tables. So I create them from, like, you can just, so it's actually possible to run the query from here. So in the in the document of the challenge, I guess you have seen the model database file. Let me see. Am I in download? Yes. Oh, excuse the thing. Let me see. That no, let me. I'm looking for this model. Exactly. So this file you should have. Okay, I can. I'm going to open it so I can get. Okay, this here. So this file you can just like. This is the file you will actually use to create your database. The dev model file, the dev model.sql is actually the file we use to create the database. So this file is actually a PostgreSQL script. So what do we do? So from here, we can just select the database. Let me reduce those things. So we are working with model database. So once you create the database, you can create it from here, new database. I click on that, you will give all the information. So the name is the model database. So I already did that, so I will not do it again. So once you do that, you will just have to select the database. And when you select your database, you have to go here on tools. And from tools, you will just see the query tools. So the query tools will actually help you opening these windows. And from this window, you
Hello,
will just have to, yes,
hello. Yeah, please can you go
yeah, yeah, yeah.
over? Please can you go over where you opened or created a module database? Please can you go over it?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Okay, okay, okay. So the model database, I will just create a node database and you will see. So I think here on database, you have to click on database here and then you right click on the database. So in this server, so the default server I'm using is the Postgres server. So this one. So I will just like, so you should know that every time you start your computer, Postgres is always running as a service in the backend. So if you have to stop it, so the first thing is how to start and how to stop Postgres, and then the second thing is how to create a database, and then the third thing is how to create actually tables and schema and relationship inside my database. So Postgres is always running in the backend, and if you want to see that, you just have to take, let's see the task manager. So in the task manager, you will see that Postgres version 9.5 is actually running. So if I want to stop it, I will just right click on that in the task manager, and it will ask me do I want to restart or do I want to stop? Yes, I can do it. So it's running as a service. Always when you start your computer, it's just running. So now, if you open the PG admin to have the graphical user interface, then you will just work from here. But know that it's always running. So this server, so when I connect it here, I just enter the password and it show me like, yes, everything is available. So now inside the server, I have the database. So I can create as many as I want. So to create a new database, I have to right click on database here. And when I do that, I will click on new database. And if I do that, I will choose, let's say, okay, I want to say L professor database. So I want just to create a database. So the owner is actually, so the owner is the username, the username. So by default, we have a username which is Postgres. So later you can just see how to change that, or Yabi will just show you, or you can just Google about that. But this time I will use the default owner to create my database. Here I can put any kind of comment I want it. And so this one is not necessary. So I will just click on OK. So if I click on OK, it will just create my database. So I have the El Professor database here. So now it's not connected to this database, but if I click on that, yes, the database will just start. And then I have Gmail, and I don't have any tables here. Look at the number of tables, 0. So now I can just create all the tables I have in the model database inside this database too. So this is the process to create the database here, but I will also show you how to create it from command line. So this is my model database, and I show you the tables you have inside the database. You have to click on estimate and then on public, and then here you have all the table. Here you have all the sequences, and all other information are just available. So the dictionary, the template, so those are not important this time. The most important is about the tables you have and how can you actually query your tables. So this is an option for Windows user. You can just open this and work from there. Also, what I was showing is that if we want to actually create all the table, we have the scripts. We have the script to create the tables. I just show it. I think what? Okay, so I just show it. So it's somewhere here. So this script is what we have to run to actually create our tables. So now, if you want to do it from here, it's also possible. You just have to select the database, make sure the database is highlighted in blue, like here, and then you will just go here ahead in tools, and from there you will just select query tools, and from there you have to, so you can just, so this is the SQL editor, so you can just write select from, and so it's depend on the query you want to. So if it is a function, it will just highlight it. So it depend on what you want to run. But if there is any, you don't have any table inside your database,
Hello.
what you should do is, so yes,
Hello.
hello.
Please, I'm sorry.
Yes,
How did you load
hello.
the how did you load the
Yeah, so
module database into this Postgres? I don't know if you touched it. So,
inside this Postgres, how did I
yeah,
load the model database?
the module is in
No,
a dump file.
yeah. That's what I want to do now, because
Okay,
I
okay.
just first of time you have to create. Yes, you have to create an empty database, and when you create the empty database, you will just like run the script. So that's what I was showing. So if you right click on the database, let's just suppose the database is actually empty. If you right click on that, you will just see like no, not right. You will just click on that. You make sure it's highlighted and color in blue, like here, and then you will click on the tools, and then you will click on the query tools, and then from there you will have to choose your file. So the file is actually the dev model. So if you choose it, you will just open the file, and So from there, it will just open this. You can do it just from here, or you can do it just from command line too. So I will just open the file to show you that yes, you can also run the file. So it's run here. Excuse my laptop. It's actually a Core i7, but I don't know what is happening. But anyway, it's let me see. Normally it should open the script even sometimes. Okay, so I will not waste time. So it's just running in the backend, but in the meantime, I will just. So if you want also to do it from, so it will open, and when it's open, we will just run it. So it's not giving me the hand to do it anything more, but there is a button here, so to run the script. So normally when you run the script, it will create all the tables in the model database. So that's the way to get your model database. One way to get it. So another way is to go through the command line. So the command line
Hello,
to do
hello.
it, yes, hello.
Please, before we go to the command line, about the
Yeah,
graphical stuff. So basically, what you
yeah,
said we should do it, or we will create a database.
yeah,
We will create a database with a name, and then click on that database.
yeah.
On the database,
And
what are
then
we going to
open,
do?
yes, and then open the script, the script, the dev model script, and then run it.
Okay,
Do you
okay,
get?
thank you.
Yeah, yeah. So now the other ways to do is to go through a command line. But for the command line thing, if you install any application, any software, you have to put it to set it in the path before you use it. You have access from command line. So what I will do is, let me see. Uh, so what I was telling you is we just need two things. So when I just go in the program, oh no, not here, but here. Okay, so in the program file, I will have access to my Postgres environment. So, so it's here. So two things are very important: the bin folder and the live folder. So those two folders I have to add them to my system variable path. So I will just like having access from the window start menu. So let's say I want to have access to the environment variables. So edit it. So I start typing and it's just giving me so if you start typing a keyword, so it basically will just give you the access and edit the system environment variables. So here you click on that. And from there, you will just have to click on, so what do you want to do? It's about so it's just, so I want to say to add new environment variables. So I will click here and it will give me access to all the available environment variables. So I will look at the path here, so the path. And so for the path, I will just edit. So if I click on edit, you can see that there are other programs, there are other bin folder we already added. So for example, the GitHub, for example, the Python community, and the Python itself, and so on and so forth. So, but what we want to do is to add, to create new. So we want to add the live folder and the bin folder. So we just click on new, and it will just give us a new typing window here where we will just copy. We just have to go there, uh, enter, click on live, and then copy the path, and then click on new and pass it here. So basically that's what I did. But I will just delete it because so that's what I did to create this one and this one. So I added the Postgres to the path, the system path. So when you do that, you are able to access your Postgres from command line. So once you did it, you have to to save it. So okay, and here also you just have to click on okay, and here also you have to click on OK. So if you have any command line open at this time, you have to close it before and then open it again so that it will just integrate your change. So from there, what we will do, I will just open a command line. So I will start typing command line. So from there, I will just open it. So if you open your command line, what will happen? So I just make some edits here. So I will just show you. So here, the steps are, what do we want to do? We want to create our database first. And to create database, so this is the command we can actually use to create the database. So it's depend on whether you are using, so Yabin is actually using Linux, so you can just use this one. So the sudo is only available on Linux, not useful on Windows. So you can just use it to create it on Linux, and if you are running on Windows, you can just use this one to create it. So the query, the script to actually create the database is create DB, and then the user, you specify the user. So I'm using the default user, so I will just use this one, the Postgres, and then my database. So here is the database name. So instead of writing database, you just writing model. So I will let me just copy that, and in the command line I will just pass it. My database is already available, and to test it I will create another database. Let's say 10 academy. So once you do that, you basically have to run it. So let's run it. It's asking me about the password, so I will just type it. So the one I just give when I was setting I was installing my thing, I will just type it, and then it's okay. So it's created. So this database 10 Academy is created. Normally, if I just go back here in the graphical interface, I should just be able to let me update. So I will just refresh this server, and then how many database I have here? 5. So let's see, where is the 10 Academy one? Yes, it's here, but the 10 Academy database is actually empty, because if I click on there, I will just look at the CHIMate, and from public I can tell that number of table equal to 0, number of sequence also equal to 0. So I don't have anything inside database, but I created just from the command line, and it just like appear here. So it's the first way to create your thing, and then you can just, let me see if that's starting. No, it's not. So, and from there, what is the next step? The next step is actually to run the file, the dev model.sql, to actually create all the tables. So it's actually that one. So if I copy that, I will just go back in my, yes, and I pass it. But I want to create those file inside the 10 Academy database this time. Oh, let me see what do I do. Let me pass it again, and then I will just modify this one. I will just put, let's say, an academy style of, yeah. But what will happen is that, whether you have two choices. One step is to just move your file inside this folder, the C and then user and then user. So if you don't move your file inside this folder, because the command line is actually running here, right? So you have to move your file here, or you have to go back and then go inside the folder you have your file. So for example, Postgres, then you just do cd and dot dot to go back, and then uh, come back to your running folder where this file is actually located. And from there, you just have to run it. So what I did is I think I have the file inside the user. Let me check it again. So I will just do a quick one. So user and then user. Should I see Dave? So it's actually here. So I think I can just like keep it like that and run it. So I have to run it. It's asking me about the password. Yeah. So, but it's creating the file. So I have an issue about the TNAC user. So maybe we will specify that later. Maybe because I'm using the default one, but the owner is actually TNAC. So I saw it was used in the script, but this time I'm using the PostScript as user name and as owner of my database too. So I'm just using that one, and so basically it's actually working, and I will have all the tables. So that's they are just running. So I have all the tables, but so I think let's let's wait until it's finished. And
Hello.
yes, hello.
Okay. You
Go
got
on.
an error. You got some errors. I don't know.
Yeah, it's about the username TNAC. So I think I'm just looking at it, but you will get more details about that in the second tutorial because it's actually working and creating all the tables, but it's giving the errors about the TNAC user. So the thing is that I have to use the default user to actually create another user. So the new user I will create is the TNAC, and then with this user, I will just run again the thing. If not, see here, for example, you will just like connect to Postgres with this, and then you will use this username, so the TNAC, and then you will connect to this database model, and then you will run this file. So here, the difference is that I'm using the Postgres because I didn't create a new user, but what is what I'm using is the default one. So I have to use this one to create a new one. So I will see that later. Maybe I will share with you when I'm done. So I have to use this one to create a new one and then use this one to run the file. So that's the only one error is giving. But anyway, all the tables are just so you can see here. So the whole TNAC does not exist because it's actually looking for it inside the file. But I will just let just see before the let me see. So I want to create it in the okay, let me see the key. So I have to refresh the database and then I have all the tables. So I have the tables here. So there so I have all the tables, but I'll look at the error later. I'll look at this error later. If not, I have the tables and uh, yeah, okay. So it's like that. So now I think is that's what I want to show you, like how to download it, how to install it, how to run it from Windows, like both on graphical interface and also on command line too. And yes, so to start working with your database, you can just start because I just run some example with so how to actually create a new table in a database. You just have to connect to the database, but what is also interesting is that I can just like let me see because I can just list all the SQL and let me see. I will use my user to Postgres and then I will use the list. So I will just it's just asking me about the let me see if this will work. Oh no, but what is Postgres? Just like
You have to type the dashes in front, not. Oh, is that?
oh in front.
Yeah, it's like dash
Did I
u
do something
dash
wrong?
l, dash u PSQL dash u dash l, not u dash, unless that's a Windows thing.
Oh, okay. Okay. So I think Okay, so this like that, and yeah, like this, and then I will password. Yeah, so it's asking me about the password, and yeah, so it's actually listing all the database I have actually inside my things. Yeah, so they are all there, and that's all. So I think you have the database. If you create anyone, you will have access to that database there, and that's all. So what else I can just do is so the model database. Let me see if this one will.
With,
So is it that? Is there any
I think
dash before?
you have to put D to
Yeah, I
just
think I
specify.
mean yeah. Okay. Okay.
Okay, but maybe
But I
you
mean
just got in. Okay, so
yeah, yeah, yeah. So now if I want to just print all the so let me see. I can just so the D so we'll print normally all the tables
yeah.
inside my database. So I think yeah. So we have more and more all the table. You can just like list them. Okay, guys. So this is
Hello.
what I wanted to.
Yep.
Yeah. Hello.
Sorry, the code, the command you use, is it modules is equal to hash?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you have the, let me show you. So is this command, the dash, the slash, and then the GT inside the database model. It will print all the tables. Is that clear?
Yes.
So just
Okay.
to explain, like to get in inside the database, just the one of the database you created, then that's the first command he issued, which is just you give the you, and then you just specify the database that you created. In this case, he was Moodle, and then inside, once you are inside, so it then you can do all sort of things, and that will be all the commands from then on are going to be
Yeah.
affecting only just that part of the database. So just to
Yeah.
specify,
Sure.
you can create multiple databases in Postgres, right? So, and all of them exist, but then you either have to specify when you command an issue which database you are requesting. In a command line, usually you can specify which database for by using D. I think he used it earlier, just so that dot
Yeah.
D, then you can change which database you are, and then any command that is you are passing afterwards will be executed in that within that database context. So that's the context is in this case Moodle, and then you can do all sorts of things in.
Okay.
Great. I mean,
Super.
it's
Thanks,
really
Yami.
awesome, Ja. I think
Okay.
that so hopefully now everybody has got the idea, at least already people who already know this are familiar, great. But if you are not, then you know how to get what it means. Just the one that you got, the database is just dumped from, so you can actually dump one of your database also, just like that, using pgdump. And then, or I think the MySQL is just has also its own dumping, and then you can transfer it, right? Or another way is you can actually connect with pgadmin. You can also connect on remote. If the database was connected to in AWS, you can also connect with it. And so it's always just these are how you. And then right now on this project, we are going to be focusing only assuming that you are in the server. So that means the database is like you are SSHing into a server. So the first plan was to actually put it in AWS and ask you to work on that. But we thought, okay, that because of internet interruption, whatever, the easiest is if we give you the database in such a way that you now is as if like you are working on the server. So then you do everything as if that your laptop is a server.
Yeah.
Yeah, great.
Great. Thanks, Yavi, for yeah. Thanks very much. So guys, hope you enjoy. And so the next tutorial will be with Yavi, and we will have more details about yes, how to. At the beginning we did something about how to connect MySQL with Python from Python, how to get data from MySQL and such things. So it's about the same. So you have some Python code, and then you open a connection into your Postgres, and then from there you have access to all the tables. You can transform. You can just run some SQL and there are some advanced command also, yeah, like connect with Spark and get database. So I think more details will be given by Yap itself. So thank you very much, and this
So
is all I
is
want to
there
say.
any question? And also I would like, if you want to find more my tutorial useful, please have it ready. Like
Yeah,
just make it work in your computer. And
yeah,
so this week's tutorial, I mean, this week's project will only be useful if you really go beyond what we tell you, in a sense that, you know, this is the cornerstone of anything. Databases, whether you are a data scientist, a web developer, a software, whatever. And sometimes even what I struggle is that sometimes you can, of course, bypass database and get your CSV or put it in something. And it's so important. That's why this is a complex database and tells you why sometimes when you really design it nicely, you can basically reduce so many of analysis easily, right? And it's so study the Postgres commands and understand how to work in a command line, in a graphical interface, using Python, like accessing it from Python. And then of course also connecting this with your dashboard. In this case would be just your, if it's a web design, would be just the web server. And Moodle is basically stores everything. So basically the code, you can replace the code. Like it doesn't at all, the code is just, that's called type of programming where like there is nothing that is inside the code. So everything, including the session, the logins, whatever, everything is inside this database. So the only thing if now a code is updated, like because there was a bug, you know, just Moodle just basically updates the code and you just git updated, you get pull it, and that's it. So there's nothing stored in the server, in the code itself. Everything, including the kind of the version of the code, is actually inside the database. So the database becomes like the central unit where, you know, all the data, all changing data, dynamic data is there, right? So understanding the Moodle database and how it works with the Moodle kind of platform really tells you a lot about like software development and the best habits of, or the good habits of software development. So I would really encourage you guys to just basically make sure you understand how the two are connected, the Moodle code and the Moodle database, and the Moodle, how the Moodle schemas are designed and how are they connected. It's complicated because it's so simple. It's like 100 megabytes, but it contains almost like, if you were to unroll it and put it in CSV, it would have been like gigabytes of data. So it's a way of like, you know, really a huge number of people working on this. Like I would say thousands of people have been working in Moodle since 2004. So this is a wisdom stored. So just study it, understand the schema, make the discussion, and don't pass anything. Just use this opportunity, because whichever direction you go, software development, data science, anywhere, this thing is going to be like the most essential. And so that's just to add. And then when you come to the next one, read it and get it in your computer and make sure that you are able to query and you are able to do something. Okay, just at least to list the tables and stuff like that.
yeah. Thanks,
Great.
Dan.
Thanks, Jen.
Okay,
Questions?
guys, let's continue. If you have any question, just ask now or just continue
Hello,
on
hello.
Slack. Yeah, hello.
Yeah, Baba, talk about dumping the file. Is there any way we
Yeah.
can maybe get a clue about that? About dumping, you know, we talk about loading now. How can you dump this file into the way it was before?
Abby?
I mean, I think from the graphical interface, there should be probably one right click and then dump. From command line, it's a one line. I'm just going to type it for you. Just here. So this is what I used. For example, if So in this case, the DNS host is just your local host, which is, you can just replace it by just local host.
Okay.
So so that's basically it. The user in my case was 10AC, and then the file that I want to dump into is devmoodle.sql, and then the database that I want to dump is Moodle.
Okay.
Just that line.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. And then the graphical interface would be just probably you right click and, I don't know, export it or something like that.
Yeah.
Right.
Sure.
Okay.
So if there is, if any other question, just ask in the Slack, and yes, we'll respond. If you guys find some useful resources also, please share with your classmate, and especially Patrick have good resources. He worked on with Postgres before, and from what I can see in his GitHub, it's actually a very good resources. So you can also share with them in the Slack.
Yeah, while reviewing also some of the people's experience, I know that a few of you, including Samuel and Jala and others, a few others who have worked already on using SQL for actually projects that are more applicable. That means like which are already deployed. So please just share your knowledge, understanding, and what are the tricks and why you should use database and stuff, like more general discussion as well, for people to understand, why do you need to use a database? Because most of the time you could just use, I don't know, CSV or some other thing. And why do you need a database? And there is a lot of reason why you should use it. And so just would be good to have a concrete understanding of that. So please share your understanding and knowledge. Great, thanks a lot. So are you going to stop the recording?
Yes.